to a worsening illegal alien crisis in this country, there's already a proven way to keep illegal immigration from growing and perhaps even end it. It's called a border fence. San Diego already has one. It has been a major success. Its leading supporter says the fence must be expanded. Casey Wyan reports tonight from San Diego.
15 years ago, this section of U.S. border near San Diego was known as no man's land. Thousands of illegal aliens routinely crossed here and were often victims of robberies, rapes, and murder. Now there are 2 layers of fence separating the United States from Mexico, and the local crime rate is down 50%. The man most responsible for that is Congressman Duncan Hunter.
The experience here shows this. The fence works, and it means that a smuggler has to come across the first fence. He's got to cross a high-speed Border Patrol road. He then has to sit down with his welding gear for maybe half an hour to cut a hole in the fence. And if everybody's not at the Dairy Queen, you catch him.
Hunter sponsored a new amendment to the House border security bill that would construct more than 800 miles of fence along the southern border. Hunter's amendment would require 22 miles of new fence around the Tecate port of entry east of San Diego, nearly 400 miles across the Mexican border with Arizona, the busiest and deadliest section for illegal alien crossings. A 71-mile and 64-mile stretch covering parts of New Mexico and Texas, where illegal alien traffic is growing at the fastest rate, and another 300 miles of fence from Laredo, Texas to the Gulf of Mexico. In San Diego, Border Patrol apprehensions have dropped more than 200,000 per year in 1992 to fewer than 10,000 now. More illegal aliens are now resorting to desperate measures, such as hiding in cars going through legal ports of entry, where they are easier to catch. Others have taken to the hostile deserts and mountains, where their chances of success are higher, but so is the risk of death. Another reason Hunter wants a fence.
This fence in Arizona would save about 500 illegal aliens a year, would save their lives.
Hunter says he's confident his amendment will be included in any final border security bill. Even if the fence initiative fails in Congress, the idea is far from dead. Lou Dobbs tonight has learned the Minutemen will soon announce plans to build their own fence with donated money on private land along the border. Lou?
Casey, with such demonstrable success there, now the distance is about, 15 miles there in San Diego?
That's 14 miles right now.
And the fact is, with that kind of impact, why in the world would Congress not look at this and say, let's do it?
It's really amazing because Congressman Hunter said that when he first proposed this idea of a fence back in the 80s, people raised the argument of comparing it to the Berlin Wall, and they're still doing it today, which is, of course, not an apt comparison at all. And there's lots of other evidence that shows that this would actually be very cost-effective. Congressman Hunter estimates this section of the fence that he's talking about expanding would cost about $2 billion to construct. If you think about the fact that the United States spends $4 billion a year just incarcerating criminal illegal aliens, it's cost-effective just from that standpoint alone, Lou.
Casey, thank you very much. Casey Wyan, thank you. The fate of as many as 20 million illegal aliens living in this country could be decided by a handful of U.S. senators. These senators have not yet decided just how they will vote on immigration reform. They're under intense pressure tonight from both sides of the illegal immigration debate. Lisa Sylvester reports.
In Kansas City, Missouri, a call for Congress to listen up.
Call your state reps.
Immigration reform groups are rallying this week to stop plans for an amnesty.
We want to stand up for our country and stand up for our borders.
Lobbying efforts are focused on a dozen senators who ultimately could decide the issue. Representative Tom Tancredo is leading a letter campaign this week. To Nevada Senator John Ensing, he wrote, "You are one of the swing senators who could tip the balance towards either enforcement first or amnesty."
We have written letters to them. We have written letters to the media in those states and asked constituents to please contact their senators and to get them in line behind an enforcement first bill.
Nevada's construction boom has been a magnet for illegal aliens. They've cost taxpayers in Senator Ensing's district millions. He's up for re-election in November. Another swing senator, Dianne Feinstein. She has said a guest worker program could take jobs away from Americans, but sided with her Democratic colleagues to block a vote on an enforcement-only bill. And New Mexico Senator Jeff Bingaman. He's a Democrat who is being pressured by his party to vote for amnesty, but most in his state adamantly oppose it. Other swing senators, North Dakota's Senator Kent Conrad, South Dakota's Tim Johnson and Utah's Robert Bennett. A number of factors could decide which side of the fence they come down on.
The senators are feeling the push and pull on immigration from a number of things: the politics, the geography, the makeup of their constituency, the industry presence in their district, as well as the internal Senate politics.
And one more powerful consideration, the voice of the people, who overwhelmingly reject amnesty plans.
Senator Ensign has been in Congress since 1994, and he says in all the years that he's been in office, he has not seen an issue with this level of intensity. And incidentally, the calls that he has received, Lou, are heavily tilted towards stronger enforcement.
Now, there's literally no question in this country as to what the people want. That is, American citizens. It is frustrating at best to try to come to grips with why 100 senators who are supposed to be thinking wisely and well and in the national interest could be so paralyzed, some of them, over sorting out the special interest rather than the national interest.
It's really amazing that you even have senators who are sitting on the fence, that you have these swing senators to begin with. Because as you mentioned, if you look at the polls, even the polls in some of these so-called these swing states on this issue, the people themselves, as you mentioned, overwhelmingly want stronger enforcement.
Lisa Sylvester, thank you very much. Excellent report. Good to have you here in New York.
Thanks.